Right, we're going to be learning about how to assign oxidation numbers. Really, this is nothing new. We've already learned how to do this before. We just learned some generic rules. Now we're going to learn some more specific rules that are always going to be true. So, first of all, just as always, elements always have an oxidation number which are 0. So, and then oxygen, when it's in a compound, is a -2. Hydrogen in a compound is going to be +1. These two are no different than what we've already learned before. Groups 1, 2, and 3 are 1, 2, and 3, positive. Again, that's nothing new from what we learned before. But everything else has to be determined mathematically. We learned on the periodic table about some of the other charges, but those are not always true. These are true all of the time, but the others are not always true. So all the others we have to figure out mathematically. Compounds, they have to add up to 0, and ions have to add up to their charge. Okay, again, this should all sound familiar because we've learned this already. So to determine the oxidation number for each of these elements, so let's look at the first one. We have potassium permanganate. And so we think about KMnO4. So first of all, we have oxygen. Oxygen is always going to be a -2, and potassium is always going to be a +1. Now we have to figure out, though, what is the oxidation number of manganese. Well, all of these together, all these atoms have to add up to 0. Okay, so potassium's a +1, and all 4 of these oxygens, each one of them is a -2. So each of them is a -2, so we have to multiply, so all together they're a -8. So we have 1 potassium that's a +1. And so what then does that manganese have to be if compounds have to add up to 0? Right, that manganese is going to be a +7. And so potassium then is a +1, manganese is a +7, and then oxygen is a -2. Again, when we report the oxidation number, we do it for one atom. Okay, so potassium's +1, manganese +7, and oxygen's -2. Alright, now let's do the next one, PO4, with a -3 charge. So again, PO4 has a -3 charge. So all of them together have to add to -3. Again, our oxygen's going to be a -2. Since there's 4 of them, all together they make -8. So we add that to something for phosphorus. So what plus -8 equals a -3. Right, so phosphorus is a +5. And so again, the oxidation number of phosphorus is +5. Oxygen is -2. Alright, let's do one more together. NO2. Again, oxygen's -2. This is a compound, has no charge, so it has to add to 0. We have 2 oxygens, that makes -4. So what does nitrogen have to be to make that 0? Right, +4. So nitrogen's oxidation number is +4. Oxygen, -2. Alright, you try H2SO3, sulfurous acid. Go ahead and pause. You try on your own, come back, and we'll go over it. Alright, we have H2SO3, oxygen's a -2, hydrogen's +1. It's a compound, so it has to add to 0. We have 3 oxygens, so altogether it's a -6. We have 2 hydrogens, so that's +2. Sulfur's got to be something. So we have a +2 and a -6 plus something equals 0. So 2 and -6, that's a -4. So -4 plus a +4 gives us 0. So that makes hydrogen +1, sulfur was a +4, and our oxygen is a -2. Those are our oxidation numbers. And that's all there is to it.